In an answer to the question of why there is no evidence of intelligent life beyond Earth despite the high probability of its existence, Leo Szilard, the Hungarian-German-American physicist and inventor, responded, "They are already here among us. They just call themselves Hungarians." This is how the term the Martians was born, used to refer to a group of prominent Hungarian scientists. John von Neumann was one of them. He was one of the most brilliant minds of the 20th century. Even on his deathbed, he entertained his younger brother by reciting word for word the first few lines of every page of Goethe's Faust, even though his intellectual abilities had by then become a fraction of what they used to be. Nuclear research scientist and the father of the hydrogen bomb, Edward Teller, said that he could never keep up with him. George Poya, former professor of mathematics at the University of Zurich, wrote, "Johnny was the only student I was afraid of. If I mentioned an unsolved math problem during a lecture, there was a good chance that at the end of the class he came to me with the solution scribbled on a piece of paper." Eugene Wigner, Hungarian-American Nobel Prize winner physicist, described him as follows: "I have known many intelligent people in my life. Leo Szilard and Edward Teller are my closest friends, and Albert Einstein was also a good friend of mine. I have known many smart young scientists, but none with such a quick and sharp mind as Johnny Neumann. He understood mathematical problems in their full complexity. His mind seemed like a perfect instrument, its gears forming a mesh and working with the accuracy up to thousandths of a millimeter. It is no exaggeration to call John von Neumann a genius. Legend surrounded his incredible intelligence, unique character and habits. He was one of the greatest mathematicians of the 20th century who also made lasting contributions in the fields of computer science, physics, economics, quantum mechanics, nuclear energy utilization, meteorology, and automata theory. The brilliant scientist's Hungarian roots were decisive in his life. John von Neumann was born into a wealthy family that received Nobel rank from Franz Joseph in 1903. As a co-proprietor of banks, his father, Max von Neumann, provided the family with stable financial well-being. He also attributed utmost importance to the education of his sons. John had two younger brothers, Michael, who later worked as a doctor in Chicago, and Nicholas, who became a famous lawyer in Philadelphia. John was considered a child prodigy. At the age of 6, he was able to divide two numbers with 6 digits each and conversed in ancient Greek with his father. Together with his brothers and cousins, he was raised and taught by governesses. He learned Hungarian, English, French, German, and Italian. By the age of 8, he knew differential and integral calculus, and he was also passionately interested in history. In 1914, he became a student at the Fosori Evangelical High School, where he made a lifelong friendship with Eugene Wigner, the later Nobel Prize-winning physicist. His father insisted that the boy take private lessons, so at the age of 15 he studied with the famous mathematician Gábor Szegő. At their first meeting, Szegő was reportedly so shocked by the boy's mathematical talent that he burst into tears. By the age of 19, Neumann had already published 2 important mathematical papers and won the national mathematics competition. However, Max von Neumann wanted his son to follow him in the field of finance and learn a profession that would make him wealthy. Theodor von Karman, the world-renowned engineer and father of supersonic flight, wrote in his memoirs, "During the first year of my professorship in Aachen, a banker from Pest came to see me with his 17-year-old son. He asked me something very strange, to talk the young Neumann out of becoming a mathematician. He said, 'Mathematicians don't know how to make money.' I talked to his son. He had an extraordinary mind. He studied different infinities on his own, which is one of the most profound problems in abstract mathematics, and developed interesting theories about them. I thought it would be a shame to divert him from what he was naturally inclined to do. I advised the father to come to a compromise with his son, let him study chemical engineering. In the end, the young Neumann studied chemistry at the universities of Berlin and Zurich, and at the same time he also became a PhD student in mathematics at Péter Pázmány University in Budapest. In 1926, he obtained his PhD in chemical engineering. He then went on to study special mathematics at the University of Göttingen. According to the reminiscences of his master, David Hilbert, in the winter of 1926-27, Neumann and he usually walked after class in the cold, wet, rain-soaked streets of Göttingen and talked about hypercomplex numerical systems. At the age of only 25, John von Neumann became the youngest private professor at the University of Berlin and was then invited to Princeton University as a guest lecturer. Not long after, he became a professor at the newly opened Institute for Advanced Studies in Princeton, a gathering place for the world's best scientists. Neumann liked playing poker, and from the beginning he was interested in the concept of bluffing. Using mathematics, he developed his game theory in 1928. With this, the player could use a strategy minimizing his maximum potential loss. In collaboration with the economist Oscar Morgenstern, he later published a book on cooperative, zero-sum games titled Theory of Games and Economic Behavior. During the Korean War, the application of this theory was the reason why the USA did not attack China.